I feel like I was, relying on Dis Northwest very early in organizing Youth Ultimate. Aside from just being, before there was Dis Northwest, there was the Puget Sound Ultimate League, which was run by Mark Friedland, who played with the Keg Workers for years and years and years, and is a longtime old friend. And the way we kind of got our Dis Northwest youth, which would become the youth program, started was to just sort of, I realized that nobody was playing before league games, and we had them on Sundays, and no one was on these fields at Magnuson. So I said, maybe I can use that time, and maybe Puget Sound Ultimate League organizers will let me just usurp those fields since no one was on them, and we weren't having to pay for them. So that was good too. And it worked out well because I could get youth kids, kids coming to play Youth Ultimate for, a few hours in the morning before the adults would show up. So that's kind of how I initially got started. And then as time went by, Joey Gray, God bless her, decided she was going to start Dis Northwest. And a series of different executive directors were open and enthusiastic about supporting Youth Ultimate. And I worked with a lot of different people to help, well, not only finance, but also organize and run the league games that were happening on Saturdays. So we switched from Sunday mornings to Saturdays. I started trying to get as many teachers that I knew in other schools, both public and private, to get involved in if they had kids that wanted to play Ultimate. And over time, it just grew from like our first league maybe was in the late 1997, in that time frame. And it grew from like 6 teams the first year to like 12 the next year, kind of exponentially just started to grow. So that was pretty awesome. And the support of all of the executive directors I worked with was really instrumental in helping us to have a solid program. And, they would even do stuff like, if I was helping with another team, like the Moho team, go to another tournament in another spot, they would provide me with the ways and the means to do that, like cover insurance costs and things like that. So I could travel with kids that weren't technically my students or connected to the school that I worked at or any of that. So that was really awesome too. And the stories I can think of is just like the first time I met William Bartram was on a foggy morning for spring rain, and we were out at Magnuson Park. And I was like, at this point, the earliest person there, the first person there to start to set up the fields. And I'm walking around on the fields trying to figure out how to keep the marshy places out of the field of play, because we had that deal with the Parks Department that we would not play on soggy ground and try to preserve the fields. And we were trying to be good stewards. That was one of the things that Joey did early on, was try to, Friends of Athletic Fields, try to, get us a good relationship with the Parks Department, so they would see us as stewards of the land and the parks, and we wouldn't abuse them. And so I'm trying to find the right way to set up the number of fields I need. William kind of comes out and he goes, do you need help? I went, yeah, that would be great. And after that, pretty soon, I mean, he was coaching teams as well at a private school. And pretty soon he became the athletic director. And, we had years where running Spring Rain, once it moved to Burlington, was done basically by Jeff Jorgensen, myself, and Bunny. And we just, we had lots of help from people who volunteered, of course. But the main organizers were us three, and we would be there at the end of the day, and rain or shine, cleaning up the fields and getting it prepared for whatever athletic thing was going to happen next. So